Good morning, Dual Coast fans. Hope everybody's doing well on this early morning for the West Coast people with us. Very special guest this morning, Dana Grant. Dana, thank you so much for being with us. Both Dana and Russ on the West Coast. How you guys doing this morning?
I'm great. What about you, Russell? You doing good?
Oh yeah, we are locked in at 5:30 here this morning. You and I.
Yeah, I know. I'm a 3 a.m. riser, so this is just
Woo!
like I'm in my zone in the morning. I love early morning. It's just like everything is fresh and new and everything is possible.
Yeah.
I like early morning, but not 3 a.m.
Well,
I don't
at
mind
3
at
a.m.
4:30.
Yeah, I'm having coffee at 3 a.m. and then, meditation and then some prayer time. So it's like I start off slow. I'm not like a racehorse right out of the gate. It's
Okay,
like it's really quiet for a while.
nice.
I like
That's a
that.
great way to start. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Dana and I go back not very long. It's been a
But it
short
feels
amount of
like it.
time,
Feels like
but
we
it
go back
feels like
along.
it. Yeah, it feels like we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
We've had some very good, very deep conversations. I love
Yeah.
getting to know Dana. She's a part of our visionary group that I have once a month, and just amazing. The connection that you and I have created is real, and in fact, one of your titles on there is the real Dana Grant, and I really want to kind of emphasize. I really want to emphasize that word real because, I think that is not just a title, it's not just a catchphrase, it is who you are. And when people talk to Dana, like, you get the real you. And, you just spill over, with enthusiasm, with joy, with integrity, with knowledge, with education. I mean, I love it. And anytime that we have had a conversation, like, it just lifts me up, and I so appreciate that about you. And I'm sure thousands and thousands of people would say that about you, that you are totally real. You're a certified mentor, you're international, you go around, you speak all over the place, you have your own podcast. But you know what? A lot of times we introduce guests to say, tell us a little bit about you. But you know what? I want to say this and ask this of you. You just launched a book last week. You
Yeah.
know,
Thursday.
isn't that
Yeah.
amazing? Amazon bestseller, The Truth Within the Lie. There it
There
is. And so I want to talk about this latest launch,
Wow. Yeah.
Amazon bestseller. I want to come right out of the gate and let's talk about this book and where it started, where it originated within your heart, the process, all of that. Whatever you would like to share about your best-selling book. Dana Grant.
Wow. Well, number one, thank you for being so generous. I don't know if everybody in the world is going to say nice things about me, but we have no control over that. And I releasing the attachment there. We can't be attached to people that love us or dislike us. We have to stay in this zone, which I try to stay in. And just like you said, Russ, I just show up in integrity and in my truth. And
Yeah.
I think the book resonated, 60 years on this planet. I think that what we have to really understand is it didn't just start. It's an evolution. And I think that through heartbreak, betrayal, not understanding how I landed in this world. But I think that when the healing began, and I think it was really my 40s that I started waking up and saying, wait a minute, I keep calling in, I mean, big stuff. There were just huge betrayals and that didn't really end until about 6 years ago. And when the final catastrophe happened, and I'm just going to say it, it was I was 25 years into a marriage, found out that there was betrayal from the beginning. I didn't know about. It was very, very publicized in, infidelities, and being a practitioner. It was huge. And I think that right there, I understood that, it was like an octopus on my face. I couldn't see, because that, and I had done enough work that I recognized that my attachment there couldn't see it because that inner child needed that safety. But at that point, I took ownership of what I needed to know. And that was safety lives within here. And so I really, all the work just went, it was like I I actually heard it like whoosh. You know, you're a solo person on this earth. No one is your rock. No one out externally is your safety. You are. And then you can call in safe people. But I think that when we grow up with trauma, we don't understand that. So the book, The Truth Within the Lie, is about my truth was medicine was saving me. It was killing me. You know, I had irretractable migraines. I was in the book, I talk about they were giving me the best doctors on the planet, you know, researched at UCSF, 20,000 milligrams of Demerol a month. Now, this is I've never had a drink in my life. I've never done an illegal drug. I don't know what they're giving me. And all of a sudden I'm taking this medicine and the body's acclimating and I'm getting all this approval and it was killing me. The truth is it was killing me. And the lie is it was saving me. So when I did this book, it was about all the stories I had created and where I had to just shed those. And I think it can be frightening sometimes to wake up and say, wow, this is the truth. And not only truth, but how can I forgive and love myself through it and the versions of me that showed up and didn't know any better and have grace for her, all the versions of me and grace and love and the shame that comes with that for the damage we've created along the way, that it's not intentional. It's not intentional. And you know, for a lot of people, they're out there, they won't tell their stories because there's so much shame attached. And so if my story can help people show up and tell a better story, because it's just not too late ever. You know, I don't know if you know who Louise Hay is. I was born on her birthday. She was, you know, she started at Hay House Publishing. It's a spirit. Yeah. And I figured I'm kind of late to the game too, not in success, but in healing. And I think that all those things resonated with me. And I just want to pay that forward as fast as I can, because I am seeing we're staying healthier longer. I mean, I'm getting ready to walk the Camino, which is, I don't even know how many miles I've committed to, maybe 200, 20 miles a day, 10 miles a day. I'm just doing it for the month of September. But the thing of it is I don't think we would have considered this, you know, decades ago, that we hit our 60s and all of a sudden we're reinventing, we're building more muscle, we're healthier. And I know I am, because I just had my blood work done and they said, you look like a 20-year-old. And I'm like, I know, it's crazy. They almost killed me. I should have died. I had 17 forms of staph in my leg. I should have lost my legs. I didn't. And I'm going to go walk the Camino. And, you know, and these are the parts that I would hide. This is the shame. You know, it's like, I can't show that, you know, because I got to be perfect. Well, you know, perfectionism and what people think of us doesn't matter. Living my life matters to the fullest matters.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know. Did all that connect dots at 5 a.m?
I love that. You know, one of the things, and I know that feeling when that box arrives and it's loaded with your books. You shared in your stories, you shared that feeling, that emotion coming out of you. Can you just take us to that moment and share with us what you felt? Because you're talking 60 years of your life coming out in words that you spent many, many hours pouring into this book, right? Editing all of the little intricate things that go into creating a book. Can you share with us that moment when you open that box to realizing it has all come to fruition?
Well, they don't call it the terror barrier because I rubbed up against that terror barrier and the newness of not knowing how it was going. I had to really just keep what I tell everyone. Hey, married to the process, divorce the outcome. I couldn't be attached to the outcome, whether it be a bestseller, trending in all those categories, Amazon's top pick. That was lovely. I was overwhelmed at the response, the messages, the outpouring of love. You know, we show up in the world and we don't know if that's going to come back to us. And it does, and it can affect our value. But in that moment, when I opened it, I was overwhelmed. I was terrified. I was terrified because I share stories, and my book was 400 pages long. You know, the publishing house, we decided to cut it, and I allowed them to cut. So I knew it was a little choppy in areas and it doesn't expand, but I thought I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Let's just let this imperfect piece of work go out in the world. And that's what I did. And that's what I didn't sit on it and say, you know, there could be but I did in December sit on it and say, there could be a more perfect version. This is what I was reading back then. And I'm like, there could be a more perfect version. And I'm going to wait until I write a better version. There's no perfect version. There will never be a perfect version. This will come, this will go. And I think Betty Davis said something along the lines, I love old movies. And she, in an interview once said, you know, headlines today is going to be lining the waste paper baskets tomorrow. You know, my book will be shelved somewhere. It'll help people, but it's not a ride or die. It's not going to be like every word people are going to hang on. Hopefully they'll take what they need from it and let the rest go. And the ones that don't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I think that's the grace of being 60. So yeah. So answering your question, when I received it, I was overwhelmed, terrified, you know, all the emotions, like what does this look like in the world? And, you know, and it's just rolling out, you know, it's just now, you know, I'm going to do book parties. I'm going to take the book along with me on the Camino. We're going to have a little book party in some interesting places along the trail. And I'm going to have some fun with it, because you know what, if we're not having joy, we're not having fun, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Dana, I just want to touch on the book real quick for the context of it. So yeah. I'm sure there had to be some moments in time where you were like writing that and you were saying, I can't share this part of my story. I don't want to share this part of my story.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you shift your mindset in order to share that? And how would somebody else shift their mindset to share something that they want to withhold within them? So like, let's say they want to write a book and they want to share their story and they just have that block where they're saying, I really can't share this. How can they really get in that mindset to say, I should really let this out? I should really let people know what happened.
I think that they have to be done hiding. They have to want freedom, because what I think we don't understand is that when we share this, there is nothing anyone can throw at me. There is nothing that I don't declare myself. There is nothing it's like, you want to know it? Let me share it. So I think there's so much freedom in it. So if somebody is writing a book right now and they're hiding because they don't want the world to see them, just know that I think that when we show up in this really raw, authentic way, we're able not only to pay it forward, but we're able to help and be of service. And I want to be of service. You know, I always, back in the 80s, I used to wear a little lime green bracelet that say, what would Jesus do? And I wouldn't take that off, because I would always think, now I ask these questions. Does it feel like love? Is it the truth? Because the stories we can feel. So I would ask them, because 95% of our life is stories we've created, because we only come into this life with two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. We have created all the other scenarios. Who is your audience? Who is in your head? Usually it's a few people that we're afraid to find out about this or that because we're hiding, and shadow work is powerful. It's powerful to hide. I hid for years. I didn't want people to know a lot. I mean, there were so many things. I declined going on boats, getting back in a bathing suit. What if they see my legs? And it was one day I was on a boat in Texas with Amberly Lago. And, I don't know if you know about, she had a terrible accident and she shares her story. And I just showed my legs. And I was overwhelmed with relief that I almost want to cry about it. I was no longer hiding. But we hide because we have this image that we think people are attached to. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that I can't rebuild muscle and reinvent myself, but I didn't, because when you're hiding, there's no movement. There's no movement. But the minute you decide you're going to tell your story, everything opens up. Mm-hmm. I mean, by the time I hit 65, I'll be 61 and I don't know, October 8th, that's coming up soon. So, but I said by 65, bodybuilding, I'm lifting weights right now, things I didn't consider before that would be available to me, I'm doing now. And so, but if I'm hiding, I'm not going to do any of that, because guess what? I'm not going to do? Hire a personal trainer, go to the gym, show up. I'm not going to show up. So I would tell them, show up, and you only have to do one thing today. It's the one, it's the 1 degree. And I talk about the 1 degree, and I think I talk about it in my book. I got to reread the book. It's like if you're like, there were so many stories, and I don't know what they cut, what they didn't cut. But if we're a pilot and we're flying a plane and we're 1 degree off, we're going to be 360 miles off our destination. So just 1 degree today. What can you do? One thing today. Walk around the block, get up, make your bed. I don't care what it is. Just one thing that you didn't do yesterday to move that needle forward. It doesn't have to be quantum leaping, which people often think, this is what we do at the beginning of the year. I'm going to do it all. And then they crash and burn. And then they create a scenario of failure, yada, yada, yada. This book, I said I would write 7 years ago. If I was attached to that, I also said I'd start a podcast. Fail the launch, fail the launch, fail the launch, fail. And why did I? Hiding. What am I going to say? I'd have to be truthful. Then I'm going to break the image. What image? People aren't attached to our image. We are. We're attached to our image. So now it's just like the secret's out. The next book will be The Secret's Out, and I'm going to tell more. This is the iceberg. And, and then you have to release the fact that everyone, is like, the statements like, oh my gosh, your life is so full of chaos and trauma. Yeah, it was. I attracted a lot of it. Lost houses, chaotic marriage. You bet I did, because that's all I knew. And that's all I managed. I was in fight or flight forever. And with that trauma driven, I set a lot of records as a lot of things. It was very trauma driven. Now it's just not. Now it's just sustainable. And I just stay in this field of groundedness, if I can call it that. Is groundedness a word? I make up my own word. Groundedness
right now.
Today it's groundedness and not like spiraling out of control on the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, or what ifs. I don't know the version of me that's going to hold this next level. But as long as I do what I need to do today and stay grounded in my peace and do all the practices that I have in play, she's going to be okay.
Yeah. Man, I see. When we go back to the word real, we're feeling that right now. We are feeling, the emotion that's welling up within you. I love that, because that's anytime that I have spoken to you, that's what I get. So this is the real Dana Grant today, So you're coming up on this walk in September, the Camino.
Oh, yeah.
All right. For those that don't know, share a little bit about that, how it came about, and what was the inspiration of why you wanted to tackle something so big in your life?
Gosh, you know what? I'd love to give you like this big answer of why I saw it. I knew nothing about it. It's crazy. So as an intuitive, and I think I talk about this a lot, that I really struggled being born an intuitive and wanting to be a Christian, and I couldn't be both. And the pendulum was swinging, and I second guessed myself all the time. I would second guess every decision and then crash and burn. And now I just don't. It dropped in. I didn't know much about it. I just signed up, and it is a little bit bougie. I'm not doing I have a little pack, but my luggage will be transported, and it's a little bit, I'm still walking, 10 plus miles a day.
Fantastic.
For 10 days. But, there's a lot of people that do their big packs and they're camping out there and doing all the things. I'm probably not doing that. I'm staying in hotels, and my luggage is transporting for me, and I'm not packing everything, but I'm still doing it, and I still want to, and I'm starting in Portugal and going to Spain. I'm doing the coastal route. So I'm not doing the treacherous mountains, and then I thought, well, I'm not really doing it if I'm not doing that. See the story? Does it matter? I probably can't claim I'm doing it. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing exactly what I was called to do. So there it was. I saw it, signed up, did it. And then I decided, my oldest daughter, I said, hey, I have 3 daughters, grown daughters. And I'm like, every year, I usually do an Italy retreat every year, and I'm not doing it this year. And I said, every year that I'm abroad, I'm going to have one of my daughters meet me. So I'm going to start with the oldest. So she's meeting me in Barcelona. So I'll end in Spain, and then I'll fly to Barcelona, and I'll spend a week in Mallorca. I always slaughter that word. I made my own word up last week, and my daughter said, at least get the name right. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, we're going to spend, so I'm going to spend a week with her. And, I've got to take time to do this, because
Yes.
I say a lot that I can do better, and especially with my daughters, they're like, Mom, you work so much, you travel so much. And I thought, I can do better. I can call more, I can do more. Because sometimes life gets really, really busy, and they mean so much to me, but we assume a lot. Like, I'll do that later, I'll connect later, or they don't want to hear from me. I never say, well, I called you, you didn't call back. The he said, she said, that kind of debate never works in life, anywhere in your life. It just doesn't work. I usually just drop in and take accountability and say, you know what, you're right. I can do better. I can always do better. And I have to lead better all the time. We never arrive. I thought that at this point, like you said, international, master life coach, hundreds of thousands of hours, teaching all over the world. I'm learning all the time. I have epiphanies. I'm learning all the time. And I'm like, I have aha moments almost every day.
Yeah. Never stop.
Never stop. Yeah. Never stop.
Never stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to surround myself with people that are curious and creative and want to know more, and want to have these conversations at 5:30 in the morning, and, imperfectly. Because one thing I want everyone to ditch right now is where they're showing up, and where they want, where they're attached to that perfectionism, how they show up. And I see this a lot everywhere. Men, women, doesn't matter. I coach men and women. They want to show up, and they want this image, and they think that's what's going to attract, maybe a relationship, or maybe their clients. Never, 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 never. It's not sustainable. It might for a moment, a micro moment, but it's not sustainable. You just got to get messy, and everyone's afraid to get messy. Just get messy.
That's actually good. It's actually a good segue into what I was about to ask you. Dana, when you have these coaching clients, and you're a certified life mentor, you're a professional coach, how do you balance between giving people tough love versus the compassionate guidance? How do you balance that, trying to coach them in the right direction? What's the median there?
It's a good question. My job is to hold space for their truth. So being who I am, being on board, I can, fortunate or unfortunate, I can see what they're doing, even if they're not saying it. So what it allows me to do is ask better questions. If I can ask better questions to guide them through questions, their life unfolds, and I want to empower them. I don't want them to lean in and depend on me. In the beginning, I did a lot of readings, and people depended on me. They wanted to know the answers, and I would give them. No. The sign above my head now doesn't say come one, come all. I have all the answers, or let me tell you what it's going to look like. But God gave us free will. You can pivot any time you want. So I just ask better questions, and I want to empower them and illuminate their life. And sometimes I have to push them off the cliff, gently. Sometimes not so gently. It just depends. Every single person is different, and I love one-on-one work. I will never abandon. I will always hold space for that. I've got master classes and masterminds. I will always hold space for one-on-one. I absolutely love that transformation, that connection, watching people unfold and do incredible things.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Dana, in some conversations that you and I have had, some of the hardships, and I know that you've explained it in your book, we all have different hardships in our life that we have to overcome. Some of those hardships for people lay down and never get back up. What can you share with people today about the importance of getting back up?
Wow, that is a really powerful question. About 2 years ago, I don't know what happened. It didn't just happen, but it seemed like it did. I think I had an eating disorder my whole life. I was underweight. I worked out. I cycled 100 miles a day. I think I was addicted to just that image of of being fit. But when I found out that what was going on in my marriage, there's something that happened in me that just absolutely imploded, and the pendulum swung, and I didn't stop working, but what I stopped doing was working out. I started not eating all day, eating late at night, doing takeout. I literally gained 80 pounds within, I say 10. It was insane. It was like 10 pounds. It was like my body was holding the trauma, and I think that I did lay down. And I didn't know if I could get back up. I wasn't sure what the future held. I looked at this incredibly big life, and if I was attached to looking at what life was going to unfold, I couldn't see it. All I saw was this vast, I'm going to be alone. I'm divorced. What does this mean? I had to hold space for something completely new. So someone that lays down one thing, do one thing, reach out to a mentor, reach out to me. I always answer messages. Get a counselor, reach out to an 800 number, something, reach out to a friend, reach out to someone that can hold you accountable each day. I didn't want to make my bed. I mean, it was situational depression, but nevertheless it was. And, and then I woke up, and I can't tell you what woke me up, but it was, I'm not going to stay down. And we have to decide, and this is big. We have to decide, I'm not going to stay down. This is not going to beat me. This is not my story. This is not the way it's going to end. And it's not too late. We can decide. We can decide it's too late or it's not too late. And I coach people, and they've been on my retreat up into their 70s. I've got someone now 82, 81 that are doing incredible things. A business coach in, she's 81, 82 in New York. Brilliant woman. It's not, and she's reinventing and she's doing amazing. It's just not too late to get back up, but we have to decide. And we also have to release. This is really big. We have to release the identity that we've taken on. So for me, there's the identity, and shame comes with that. A lot of people love to talk about that weight. Not terrifically comfortable for me. I look at the pictures and I'm like, I'm not sharing that. But you know what? Share away. I remember once when I co-founded a company called Cauliflower Foods, a cauliflower pizza crust company. I was bending down in a grocery store, and someone took a picture and said, "This is the woman who created Cauliflower Foods." Really unflattering picture. And I'm, oh yeah, there. We're going to find it everywhere. This is just the world. And I thought, wow, that women are sharing that. Well, and I thought, those aren't my women. Those aren't friends.
Right.
And the person that shared it, that's not a friend either.
Right.
So I think we have to make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
One decision to get up, change your environment, look at your environment. Who are you surrounded with? Who is at your kitchen table? I always say, who sits at that kitchen table is really important. Those are the 5 people. I don't care if they're living, they're dead, that we talk to, that we mentor with, and then we've got our living room. And those are the people that are, we don't have the deeper conversations, but they're support units. And then we've got the family room, and then the front porch, and then, out in the yard. And there's layers of connections, but we have to build it. People are not going to come knocking down our door. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah. We have to make the effort.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So true.
Have to get uncomfortable sometimes, right?
Uncomfortable all the time. In fact, I uncomfortable all the time. I think if we're in the growth zone, it's uncomfortable. Even with the book, it went kind of like boom. But at this point, this is my baby. It's like, I'm going to have to carry it. I can let it drop, or I can, bring it out there into the world and keep it going. But no one's going to do that for me.
Sure.
No.
It's not like people think, well, oh, she's got such influence that no. I remember I didn't even have a computer. I wasn't even on Instagram. I remember someone signing up Facebook for me in like 2011. I'm like, oh, no. I just want to hang out in my garden and I just want to do my thing with my dog. And why would I want to be on there? Computers, I don't type. I didn't want any part of any of it.
Yeah.
I remember reading SB bills on red-eye flights to DC And that's how I did it. Having the big box cell phone in the 90s. I mean, technology was just not my gig. I didn't, and I've learned how to do it, but I also have some incredibly talented staff. So when everything fails, I'm like, it won't open. They're like, did you turn your computer on? And I'm like, well, what is that? Honestly, it's true. And I delegate. I stay where, and I think people need to know, where's your genius? Stay there. Don't go in the areas. I mean, if I stayed in the areas that I'm not great at, I feel bad all the time. I stay where I'm really great at. It's like, I'm really great here. Can you do this for me? And I'm not afraid to ask for that.
Yep. Dana, I promise no hard questions, I know, but this is a little tough.
Okay, I'll take a sip of tea.
If you could distill your leadership philosophy into 3 words, what would they be and why?
Trust the process. And I know that's overused. But we actually, if we don't trust on a deep level ourselves, you're going to go back into the stories you've created, and you're going to stay committed to a different outcome. You're going to rework them, and you're going to go faster and faster and harder and say, I'm working so hard with the same story, wanting a different outcome. I say, with trusting the process, it means we have to accept, we release the stories, and if we trust, we have to know that on this side, we don't understand or know what that looks like. And I think the newness of trust, for me, the newness of trusting myself was terrifying. Yeah. Especially when I was used to, you can't see my hands, like grabbing out here of external validation, and when you have a safety wound, and I had a deep safety wound. I grew up in a family where I just wasn't safe, an alcoholic father, a mom that failed to attach. I mean, they did their very best. And I love them deeply. Of course, my father's not alive anymore. My mom is, and I did get a message from her in my book yesterday on the first chapter, and it wasn't the nicest, but guess what? She came back later and said, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too, Mom. Love you too. And, I tried to honor her, but I also have to tell my truth, which means people pleasing out the window. Trust the process, which means you have to trust your truth, not somebody else's. And if we trust someone else's, we're going to show up and we're going to people please, and we're going to want their, validation. And that just doesn't work. I call that a zero growth.
Yeah.
So we have to be unattached to whether people like us or not. I imagine there's people are going to read my book and say, I really don't like her, or she's really this, or she's really that, or it's okay. I'm okay. I really am so okay with that. I hope they get something out of it.
That touches back though on your freedom, that the idea that you spoke before about freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that you can see behind me, it says, trust the process up there. Yeah. And that was going to be the name of my book, post pandemic. And I bought the sign, we did it all. And I'm like, I don't think it's trust the process anymore. I think it's the truth within the lie, because our subconscious really wants to dominate. Our ego protects that subconscious. It wants to protect our stories. It wants to protect us. And, frankly, that's its job. But the soul over here is connected to the heart and source and God. And all it wants to do is expand. Ego wants to contract. The soul just wants to expand. It just wants to say, hey, what feels like love? And the ego over here is saying, don't trust it. Back in the maze, which the maze is where we're running and chasing the stories for a different outcome. And we have to identify that. We just have to slow down and breathe. Yep. and disconnect from.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I could go into the 5 stages of stress and all the other things that we tap into, to deflect and not feel and to not feel. And for me, man, I didn't want to feel any of that. And, but we're required. No spiritual bypassing. We're required to feel, and it's not nearly as scary as it is living a life in an inauthentic life that the rug's pulled out from underneath you every time someone abandons you, every time you attach to that external validation and you don't get it, and you're wounded for the day or hurt, or someone's hurt your feelings. My feelings don't get hurt very much because I'm not attached to the outcome of what someone thinks about me. I'm attached to my integrity. I'm attached to my truth. And, and that's a whole different space. And I would say that's a quantum shift for me. And it happened 1 degree at a time, one step, one step, one step.
Love that.
So good.
Love that.
Work-life imbalance. We hear that all the time, right? Work-life balance.
What's that? Work-life balance.
It is possible.
The thing, yeah. The greatest thing is something that you've already shared is like, you taking the time to spend with your daughters individually, collectively, making more calls. You get up at 3, you do your regiment, you do what you do. Because we're based, on our podcast, about health and wellness, talking about balance in your life. You talked about now you're lifting, you're doing these things.
Yeah.
How important is it, Dana, for those that are out there that are just driven, they're just going and going and going? What is the balance in life, and what is the focus as far as for you to bring some light, shed some light for other people, to take that moment, to take that time daily, whether it's in the gym, whether it's taking a walk, whether it's stretching, whatever it may be for you? What is the most important thing for you that you need to do daily to get away from this rigorous life that sometimes can overwhelm us?
Give yourself permission to slow down, to be in flow. This hustle mentality doesn't work. Slay all day. I remember that. Slay. I don't slay anywhere. I flow. I give myself permission to say, you know what? I'm going to cancel the state. You have, my book is about universal laws, and we are first cause and effect. We're first cause. We have to show up. And if we are not leading with authority, number one, money only follows authority, and money's an energy that follows us, and everybody wants to build more, and they think working harder works. It just doesn't. I'm living proof. It just didn't. I just crashed and burned. It was like this. And this crescendo from, I'm going to tell you, the more I flow, the more I pull back, the more I breathe, the more I walk out and pick my tomatoes in the middle of the day and put my face in the sun and look at I call it my jungle of flowers right now, because it's just, I planted all these, it's beautiful. And I share that because this means something to me. I look at the sky every day. I walk every day. These things are where my downloads come in. This is where the building happens. This is where the ideas come from, not when I'm out here hustling and building. Doesn't mean I don't have to take action. It just means that is an essential part. And I didn't used to believe that. Work harder, work harder, work harder. I don't get up at 3 a.m. and then work until, well, today I will. Some days I will. But I love it. I love it. But I also build in, the self-care. And I think that people need to understand that if you don't honor your system, if you don't honor your process, everybody's got a different process, different health. But I'm also going to say health comes first. I walk every day. I get up, I don't care if I walk around the block, but it's important to honor, this God pot, and I don't shame myself for laying down for the year. And I'm going to say, wow, at this age that I could say, what a blow it, you're never going to get that muscle back. And I used to ride 100 miles a day. I was obsessed with cycling. I was a cyclist, and just slow down and honor. None of that was sustainable, but this is. Yeah. This is. And, at 65, who knows? Maybe I'll enter a bodybuilding who knows what I'm going to do? But I'm telling you this, I'm doing it. And I'm now thinking, even with bone on bone, rotator cuff tears, surgeries, I'm still going to build that muscle. There's nothing that I believe I can't do. So where's their limiting belief? What do they think they can do? What do they think they can't do? And what are they running from? What are people really running from? When I watch people and I look at their schedules, I'm like, whoa. What are you running from? What do you not want to feel? And when we're going super fast like that, we don't want to feel something. And I know this because I know what I didn't want to feel. And when I had to address that, it was the biggest transformation of my life. Uncomfortable. We were talking about uncomfortable. Oh yeah, really uncomfortable. but I wouldn't be where I am today without it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't have built what I built. I wouldn't have been able to hold space for me, all of it.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's not hard either. But, you know, it's like I had a relationship with hard. There's a hard way and there's an easy way. And we get to choose. Our greatest power is the right to choose. That's our number one power in this life, is the right to choose. And people don't think they have the permission to choose. And they're like, I don't know. What do you think? No, what do you think? You know, so yeah. So I love health and wellness. I think, you know, every day I line this up every day. So we talked about routine. That's water, hydration, my supplements. I'm big on magnesium, and I wasn't always this way. I didn't always think that was a value to me during that period of time. I'm like, oh, forget it. It doesn't mean anything. Well, it means everything. It means everything.
Yeah.
You know, hydration. I've never drank alcohol. I drink tea, no soda, limited sugar. I love sugar. I stopped at a roadside stand the other day and I bought peaches, strawberries, some, you know, grapes they had just picked. And I'm like, I woke up at midnight last night and I'm like, nom, 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 eating grapes. And I'm like, put the grapes down, Dana. But
that's good stuff, though. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah, but it's still, you know,
it's good stuff.
But you know, I in my book I don't know what chapter it is. It's called The Candy Connection, and I used to play the violin, and I would actually get off the bus back in the day and run into this little market. And for a quarter, I would buy all these Jolly Ranchers and fruit candies. I don't like chocolate so much as I love fruit candies. And I would fill up where the reeds go in my violin case. And of course, I was first chair violin, because I would practice all night long eating my candy. I would eat my candy and practice in my room. But I noticed every time I went to my mom's or my dad's to visit, they were divorced, I would stop and buy candy. I even if I didn't eat it, I would make sure. And this was the real, you want to hear a wake up call? I was driving to, it might be in the book, or they might have cut, I don't know. I got to reread this. But I'm telling you here, I was driving to my mom's and I pulled into those new Dollar General's stores, or, you know, those big yellow and black signs. And I pull in there and which I don't normally go. And I go to the candy section. I buy licorice, sweet tarts, hot tamales, jujubes, you name it. I bought $30 worth. And they said, oh, you're having a party? And I lied. I said, oh, yes, a party. I stress bought that just in case. That was like my emotional safety, to have that bag of candy. I never touched it, but I had it in my car and I purchased it. And that was about 4 years ago. And I remember thinking, that's your emotional safety. You bought that sugar because you know, and I love my mom. My mom is, she's a genius. She's got an IQ of 140. She's an amazing woman, but she wasn't emotionally safe. It doesn't make her a bad mom. It just makes the fact that she came into the world and her mom, it's like generational trauma, you know, and she also paid forward an enormous amount of good things to me as well. But the message I got was, you're not safe. And somehow sugar along the way just seemed to be something that I thought, even if I didn't eat it, I would keep it. I would have drawers in my house full of, you know, those candies from like the theater. And my grandfather and grandmother owned like, I don't know how many theaters they owned, a lot. I remember watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in the summer and like millions, zillion times, eating jujubes. I don't even know those. But so I got a lot of candy free because I spent my summers watching all the movies. But for some reason, I equated that to safety. And now anytime I want to lean into sugar, I ask myself, what do you not want to feel? What do you not want to feel? Yes. And does this feel like love? And it's like, oh no, this doesn't feel like love. This feels like something you want to avoid. Let's sit with it. Let's breathe through it.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Dana, you know, you've accomplished so much between being a life mentor, a coach, an author, but I know a lot of people listening probably who follow you are going to want to know the answer to this. What's the next chapter look like for you? What's the next thing on your agenda? Something completely new?
Well, I'm going to walk the Camino.
Mm.
I'm going to go to Barcelona. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do some book launches. You know, we're building out the boardroom. I've got things I'm building out to hold space. I'm making, you know, to work with me one-on-one. I want to make it affordable for everyone. I hold a couple of scholarships a year that we give out. But, you know, life will continue to unfold. I just found out that my oldest daughter is going to have a baby.
Oh,
She's very
congratulations.
Awesome.
and so it's
Congratulations.
yeah, and she'll be in space. Yeah, thank you. Just found out it's a little boy, and I hope I can say that she. I think she's supposed to announce that first, but
Otherwise,
oops.
you just ruined it.
See how imperfect I am. Not that she, you know, but I'm so excited. You know, and she lives in Florida, and I'm in California, so I'm trying to figure out how I can probably work more there. I love California. I love living here. It's you know, I'm a native Californian. Florida kills me with the humidity and the heat. All you Floridians out there, it's like, why do you live there? And the storms freak me out. You know, I suppose I'm open. I'm open to what's next. I don't know. I have no idea what the future holds for me. I'm just being very present, very intentional about where I am, and being really open and unattached to what, you know, just doing my thing, building out. We're getting ready to hire more people to support what I'm building, and
Amazing.
you know, and I'm just excited every day, you know, just to be alive.
Amazing.
Is that enough? Just to
Yeah.
just to wake up every day and
Perfect answer.
yeah, and just, you know, go for my walks and connect and hopefully inspire, and
Love it.
yeah.
That's great.
Amazing.
I wish I had a more clever answer. I wish I had a more clever answer. But
No,
you know, I can't help but be me, you know, in this
That's all.
left-handed, you know, dyslexic ADHD brain that goes really fast.
Oh man. Last question, Dana, is something that we always ask our guests. Last question of the day is: wellness is not about perfection, but it's about progress. You talked about being perfect, and you know, it's okay to strive for that. We're never gonna be perfect, but perfection holds people back.
Oh,
So talk about that, answer that question. Wellness, and what does it mean to you? Wellness is not about perfection, but it's about the progress in our life in whatever capacity that means to people.
you know, perfection kills progress. As long as we are attached to, you know, the perfect image, we're going to hide, and we're not going to drop it and do what needs to be done. We have to show up. We have to show up, and we have to be willing to be seen. And for me, that was terrifying. I've never liked that. You know, even when, I don't know if my body was ever perfect, because even back then, you know, there was some body dysmorphia. And I look back and I'm like, what is wrong with you? That you were so hot. And I'm never going to be as young as I am today. So I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, oh my God, look at you. And, you know, I think we have to look in the mirror and love ourselves, you know, and if we don't like what we see, how are we going to show up in the gym or with a trainer or go out there and do what we need to do? We're going to continue to hide. So wellness means acceptance, love, you know, every day, look in the mirror. And I do this every morning, the mirror work. And that is, what do you need from me today, Dana? And it's like, could you love your body a little bit more? Because the legs were a struggle. They were a struggle. Like, how could this happen? How could you let this happen? Why did you do this? Why didn't you trust? Because my trust was in everyone else. And I'm going to tell you, it's a big story, but you know, not trusting myself and then trusting others, I could have lost my legs. It was one day I walked into the immediate care where my ex-husband was working, and I said, I smell something terrible, and it's not on the bottom of my shoe. And it's like I've stepped in some dog doo-doo, and that was the infection in my legs I was smelling. And there were 17 forms of staph eating my tissue away. And I know this is graphic, but I was living it and hiding because I was afraid to ask. And I thought, I'm surrounded by these professionals. Obviously, if something was wrong, they would tell me, right? We have to be our own advocate. We have to show up. We have to be seen. and we have to take control. I don't care what it is they need to do today. Maybe fill up a thermos of water and drink, assess their life, make an assessment. Where am I showing up? Where am I hiding? And how much do I want it? People say they want it. I want health. I want to lose weight. What are you doing about it?
Right.
What are you doing about it? Reach out to somebody that can support you.
Yep.
You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. Hiding it's like it's just like a little loop.
Yeah.
And 5 years from now, they're going to be telling the same story.
Yeah.
Just
Still
reach
in
out
the
to
loop.
one person. Yeah. Yeah. Just hold you accountable. One little thing each day. You can do one thing a day. We don't lose 80 pounds overnight. People said, "Are you taking that Ozempic? Are you doing?" I'm like, no. And it didn't happen overnight. It was actually a year, but you didn't live with me for a year. Every day I showed up, no sugar, water, protein. I knew what to do because I'd been a health coach before, and I took health very seriously. Health is everything. Health is our wealth. And without it, there's no way I could do this. There's no way I could show up in the world. And I know this because I was debilitated for 20 years with migraines. And I know what that looks like, and I believe it, that was emotional trauma I stuffed in our body. There's layers of things that we hold that we need to release, and we need to ask, and we need to show up. It's that simple.
Yeah.
We can hide, or we can just lean into one person and say, "Hey, can you help me?"
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you there's someone out there that's going to help you. And if they don't, what do they say? Pull the bootstraps up, do something for yourself, because self-love starts with taking care of yourself.
Beautiful.
Amazing. That was incredible. Dana, thank you so much for being with us today. That was absolutely amazing conversation, amazing podcast. Dana, where can people find you?
Well, danagrant.com. They can find me there. We have a lot of free things we're going to be starting to offer. I'm really excited about that. We just offered a free meditation on the truth within the lie that I just taped. That just came out, I think, today. But I love hanging out. It's the real Dana Grant on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can find me just about everywhere. I'm on YouTube. We're just, I bounce around, but I would say I hang out on Instagram the most. And I really will answer all my messages. It may take me a few days, but I will answer those myself. My team, does run it, but I will answer those. They don't do it.
That's
if people
awesome.
need help, reach out. If they need inspiration, reach out.
Awesome.
I think we have to be generous. It's our job to be generous. If we know better, it's our job to pay it forward.
Sure. Amazing.
Mm. Thank you, Dana Grant.
So
The
much,
real Dana Grant, for coming on the
Real
Dual
Dana
Coast
Grant.
today. It's
You guys
been
are
a pleasure.
great. I love hanging with you guys. I want to do this again.
It's great.
Let's do it.
We'll do it. Thank you so much
Let's
for
do it.
listening, everybody. Check us out on
Thank
Facebook.
you.
Check us out on Instagram, TikTok. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Check out Dana at The Real Dana Grant. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week.